there's a guy who decided to kill somebody in his driveway. This time it was a white female. He gets 25 years, and the judge had this to say about what he did.
And Mr. Monahan, I think if you were released from prison, and people who commit murder generally don't recidivate a lot. They don't commit the same crime. Again, it's a low rate of recidivism. But with you, I think you really could possibly do the same thing again. It's obvious to me that you feel justified. You don't take any responsibility for the outcome of your actions. You just don't get it. The first thing you do on the witness stand when you come up here and testify is you made a joke to the jury about them finally being able to see your face. You senselessly took the life of Kaylin Gillis, and you have the gall to sit here and talk about how you plan to finish up the work on your house and race motocross in the future. You don't deserve that. What would make you think that you deserve those things? Even when your attorney tried to get you to acknowledge that your home wasn't being invaded, you couldn't do it. You hesitated and said something to the effect of, "It sure felt like we were being invaded." He was trying to elicit out of you a response that somebody who took responsibility for their actions would have. And you couldn't even do that. Your first instinct was to lie about what happened, and you repeatedly lied in such a cold and calculating manner.
Put him up full mass. This is rare. It used to happen very often when a judge would basically provide a lecture like this after conviction. You do not get this moment much anymore. It is basically frowned upon by judges, but it is not illegal after adjudication. One would even say it is proper. In New York, Kevin Monahan has now been sentenced to 25 years in prison after he was found guilty of murder for fatally shooting a 20-year-old, Kaylin Gillis, who had mistakenly pulled into his driveway last year while searching for a house. There was a house party nearby. The judge, you just saw, Adam McElhinney, also told the defendant, now convict, that he deserved to spend the maximum time in prison and the maximum allowable under the law. He also said, quote, "The only regret you have is that you're facing the consequences of your actions," the judge said in court. "You murdered Kaylin Gillis. You shot at a car full of people and you didn't care what would happen," end quote. Keep that picture up. Judge, I appreciate your words. But if he would have been, let's just say, in a blue uniform that has a gold badge, and he shot into a car and killed someone, would you have said you murdered Kaylin Gillis? You shot at a car full of people and you didn't care what would happen. And sir, I say this to you because I hope somebody gets you this second. I want you to understand that blue uniform does not take away responsibility. It is supposed to enhance responsibility. For example, you see that black robe you're wearing? Your responsibility is enhanced, not decreased, increased, just like an officer should be. That's a side point, Judge. The judge sentenced him to 25 years to life in prison for the second-degree murder charge. The defendant also received a consecutive sentence of 1 1/3 to 4 years in prison for tampering with physical evidence. And the sentence for reckless endangerment will be served concurrently, the Associated Press reported. They do plan to appeal this ruling. Gillis this was one of 3 shootings that occurred in the span of the week of 2023, where young people were shot. If you remember that, it was a whole lot of insanity happening during that time and a lot of shooting innocent human beings. Sharon, thoughts?
Enabled, empowered, these are the times we live in. Judge McElhinney got it right when he said you just don't get it. This was a case, Dr. Richey, that probably necessitated that this defendant speak up and take the stand, even though he had a right not to. There were just so many witnesses against him, talking about the sheer terror and no reason for it. But I think he took that stand with glee and joy, like someone who catches a record fish or a huge buck and carves it up with enough meat for the neighbors. He was very proud of what he did. And at 66 years old, he should stay behind bars and rot.
And if this judge has his way, barring appeal, that's exactly what would happen.